as well. We are now joined, Game Day coming to Waco on Saturday for Saturday night's game between Kansas and Baylor, and one of our favorites. We appreciate him every time he has time to join us from ESPN, college basketball analyst, former coach Seth Greenberg on Sikkim 365 Radio. Hey, Seth, what is it like, those atmospheres? You've been around to plenty of them, just the fact, the excitement of what you see from campuses no matter where you go for Game Day?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I experienced it as a coach at Virginia Tech when we hosted Game Day, and obviously I've experienced it all over America. And you know what it is it's a testament to the teams that we travel to. There's only 8 game days, and you know what? That means 8 different schools get an opportunity to have us come and do our show live, and that means that team is having a special season and has a great following and a great ownership and a great passion and a great energy that surrounds their program. So. Last time we went to Waco, it was absolutely a blast. Obviously, the show was right before tip-off. This time a little different. The show's in the morning. Tip-off's at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock your time, I guess. But it's special. And, you know, it's such a fun experience because of the energy in the building and the ownership and the passion of the fans. And we've had some great ones. Last week was good, not great. Auburn was terrific. Kansas has always been, you know, a blast. They're always fun, but we're really excited to get to Waco. And it's not just the chocolate cake.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Seth, you've seen this Baylor team now have to reinvent itself with the season-ending loss for Jonathan Tchamwa. What do you think of the games they've played since then and how they're having to play more small ball?
Yeah, they're adjusting. You know, to me, I say it's a very similar adjustment than obviously Scott made when you know, Clark went out a couple years back, and they had to adjust. And you know, he's really good at seeing what they have to do. You know, Jeremy Sohan go to 5 now. I'm going to do a tape on that with Scott in the show. And now you've got a 6'8" player that has ball skills, can really pass, and has a feel. And you play more 5 out, opening up the floor. You can switch more defensively. You know, in Oklahoma State game, Sohan made a couple of really good plays. One backdoor pass, one drag 2 ball screen, threw it back to Kendall Brown. One ISO at the middle of the floor where he just made a play, and you know, 4 guys are outside the 3-point line, so there's space. So it's a work in progress. They're still figuring it out, but you know, it's another floor gamer on the court, and when you get another floor gamer on the court, it gives you more versatility offensively for sure.
What did you think about James Akinjo and what he's brought to this Baylor team? I mean, there's been times when he's struggled. Sure, in that game, their last game, he struggled mightily until the very end. Hits a big bucket. Just what have you seen from his development this season, and how important he is to what they do?
When he's good, they're good. I mean, it's just plain and simple. I mean, maturity, toughness, leadership. A guy that is finding a balance between being that scorer he was at Arizona and finding a balance between that and making plays and being inclusive. I think he's did a really good job. He's bought into what you have to do defensively to play at Baylor, and I've been really impressed with him. You know, he hasn't every game hasn't been a masterpiece, but a lot of pressure on those guys. With all those injuries and all those different lineups, it's a lot of pressure on a point guard.
Seth, you mentioned Tristan Clark when he went out, and Baylor reinvented themselves with the guards and Butler and eventually what they became with Davion and Maceo. And how hard is that to do?
It's hard, but if you have good guards, it's easier. And, you know, I mean, obviously, LJ can get healthy. And if, you know, Adam had a big game the other day and you get, you know, Akinjo healthy and Matt starts to understand that he's got a new role and he's moved up on the scouting report, which puts a lot of pressure on him. You know, it's doable. It's just that it does take time, and everyone's role changes. The system changes. Maybe a little more pressure, maybe more extending your defense. But, you know, they still have time to adjust. And it's kind of interesting in a way because you can play 2 distinct styles. You can play that small lineup, and then obviously with flow in the game, you can play your normal lineup. So you're actually being more difficult to prepare for because you're coming at your opponent with 2 different game plans.
What have you seen from Kansas the last couple of weeks? Of course, last night they drilled Kansas State pretty good. I know they've had a couple of tight ones down the stretch, but it looks like they're finding their sea legs as they get close to March.
They're getting better. David McCormick's been better the last 5 or 6 games. Jalen Wilson has been very, very good, averaging about 14 and 10 his last 5 or 6 games. I've really been impressed with Dwan Harris. Just his toughness and his ability to defend, and he's actually gotten more aggressive offensively. You know, they get Remy Martin back, then they go another level because Martin is a terrific passer and has really good vision. So they're good. They're good. They'll play a lot of small ball as well. I mean, they're going to play 4 out a good majority of the game, a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of shallow cuts and double gaps, a lot of, dribble handoffs to pin downs to dribble handoffs to high ball screens for Ochai. I mean, so the game will be a fun game because this game's going to go up and down.
Seth, Texas Tech, did you expect Mark Adams to just not really miss a beat once Chris Beard left?
I knew he could coach. I spent enough time with Coach. I used to visit those guys once a year, and the players absolutely love him. They play their tails off for him. He went and got what I call Texas Tech type guys with chip on their shoulders, guys that have a point to prove, guys that play really, really hard. You never coach an effort, and he can really coach. The dude's coached at every level. I mean, he can really coach.
You have coached over your career as well. Then you got into the television part of it with College Gameday, ESPN as an analyst in the studio, and also, again, coming Saturday. How much did that help you going from coaching, even though that's in your blood, always will be, to being able to be so close to the game with what you do now?
Well, I mean, that's the prism I look at the game through. I'm far from a journalist, I can tell you that much. And I'm far from a talking head or a guru, someone that never did it and just talks because they want to hear themselves. I lived it for 33 years. So I just talk like I'm talking to my staff or my team or in a bar talking to my boys or, that's just the way it is. I get a kick out of it. Well, you don't like our team. Actually, it's no big thing. I mean, I am a coach's advocate because I understand how hard the job is, and I appreciate the guys that do it at the highest level and the demands that are on them. But the game tells a story, and I'm supposed to interpret that story and tell the truth, and that's what I do. And for example, Tom Izzo was one of my dearest friends. I had to say that watching his team yesterday was disgusting because they didn't compete the way Tom Izzo coach team competed. They didn't share the ball. They didn't defend. They didn't rebound. They didn't play in a manner that basically the standard of what is expected of a Michigan State player. Now, that wasn't easy for me to say. But because I have no agenda, I get a call from Tom this morning. He said, I heard what you said. You're exactly right. So, I always felt if you don't have an agenda and you tell the truth, and you speak from the heart, and from your past experiences, it's all you can do.
Did what the Big Ten, Michigan, and Wisconsin do following Sunday's drama and the post-game issue, did they get it right?
Yeah, they did. And I know people say, well, Greg grabbed him. You make contact with people in post-game handshake all the time. I compare it to a flagrant 1 and flagrant 2. And that's why Greg got a $10,000 spot. A flagrant 1 is unnecessary. Didn't have to do it. Flagrant 2 is unnecessary and excessive. A swing over the top, there's no choice. And you had to send a clear message because that's mirroring behavior. Now all of a sudden, 2 players from Michigan, 1 player from Wisconsin are being suspended because the behavior of the adult in the room. So I think they got it 100% correct.
You made a comment about last night's game, that UConn-Villanova game with Dan Hurley getting ejected. Did he get ejected for what he did or what he's done before?
Well, I think that, look, officials are human. They only take so much. And, you say you're going to go into the game with a clean slate, but it's human. I think a little bit of both. I mentor Danny. I talked to Danny actually today for about 45 minutes. I'm very close to him. He is a great coach. He's a great teacher. He's a masterful game planner. He's unbelievable in player development. But he's got a really good team. I mean, a really good team. He's got a team that can make a deep run. And you know what? He's got to understand that, like what he did, I used this example the other day. It's like what Billy Tubbs did when he walked up to the microphone and said, I don't care how bad these officials are, please don't throw anything on the floor. Well, when you got the first technical and all of a sudden you're waving your arms trying to incite the crowd, that's actually right in the rule book. So, he made a bad decision. His team played their tails off. Kamani Friend did a great job of getting a good shot at the end of the game for Tyler Polley, and they win the game, which is great. And, what I told him is he needs to go and speak to the commissioner of officials in the league and say, you know what, I want a clean slate. Let's move forward. I hear you. I've got to be better, but I also should not be judged prior to a game starting. And that's what he should do, and that's what they should hear. And they should also start with a clean slate. Because you know what? Anything else but that is not being fair to his team.
Seth, final question. Who do you feel like is the National Player of the Year at this time?
Depends on the day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It depends on the day of the week. Last night it was Keegan Murray. He looked like a man amongst boys. Day before, on Sunday, I thought it was Johnny Davis. Every single day, I almost think it's Oscar Sheboy, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy every day. There are nights I think it's Jaden Ivey. Right now, I'm probably leaning towards Oscar because what he's doing is absolutely sick.
Man, it's great to have you. I know I bothered the hell out of you asking you to come on with us, but we love having you on, Seth. We really do, and can't wait to see you on Waco. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Seth Greenberg with some Truth Serum, ESPN college basketball analyst. I love what he said.